Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. How are we doing, cousins? Um, Let me check and make sure that the volume is good. I missed y'all. We're on a different device because I had to put my laptop in the hospital, cousins. So this is just gonna be a talk through. I won't be able to show any clips or anything, but what is going on? Girl, hey Riz. Oh no, Fatty, I've not been on Discord. Um, like, nah, last week was a week, and then I've had to I'm taking some time to try to process this. And as a matter of fact, if y'all can hear me, like put a one if the volume is okay. And I am trying to this is I don't want to call it a ghetto stream. I'm gonna say this is a thank you, Fatty. This is a it's despair. Like, I really wish that I could say like it was anything other than despair. It's just despair. Like, this is okay. All right. So what is going on? Why are we here? If you do not know, yesterday the I guess I would call it the golden jewel of the Voters' Rights Act was struck down yesterday. I think a lot of us that have been very aware that voter suppression and voter rights were in an attack. I'm not surprised. This is not a surprising ruling at all. It is still disappointing. It is like you knew that something horrible was going to happen, but still in your gut, you wanted a absolutely different resolution. And we just are where we are. Um, I did not record yesterday because yesterday I was livid. I have struggled today to record because I will, and y'all know I'm a crier. And I, spoke to my husband about this, and I was just like, I really do not want to be on stream crying like a punk, but this is bad. Um, it's bad in the sense of the little bit of democracy that I thought perhaps could have happened. Like, I've surrendered to that. I've let that go. What I will say is the spirit of let this bitch burn is real deep on. Thank you, Riz. Thanks for stopping by to show support, beloved. Thank you. Thanks, Fatty, for showing support. And I'll go in and make the corrections. But where we are politically right now, and the reason that this title is FBA's Wake Up, I really think specifically somebody like myself, I think we thought we were further along, and 2024, I'm calling it the year of the year of exposure. It is the year that we got the Kendrick Lamar beef. It is the year that we understood that Black Americans and the way that they vote, that specific voting block is very unique. I think for a long time, we have kind of gone through with this Black and brown unity or this people of color, and that's just not what it was. And it's not what it is. Even in the sense of being in Texas, I could have said, okay, 2024 nationally had some results, but we saw the same results in the election with Jasmine Crockett. So at this point, what the country is really saying is like, it really doesn't matter if you're qualified. It doesn't matter if you have the education. It doesn't matter if you even perform in the job, that they will find a way to kind of like gas the system. So where I am with it's like, we're going to have a multiple layered approach of how we move forward politically as Black people. We just have to understand that one, I don't know if you've ever, her name is Voodoo Doll TV, and she has a brand called BAVE, BAVE, Black Americans versus Everybody. I know that there's a subsector of people that do not like the FBA, ADO, Sulam movement, but the delineation movement is absolutely necessary because politically, as we start to build pacts, we're going to have to understand. And again, hear me when I say this, you can be and have a allyship, but it's got to be at the terms that benefit your particular subgroup. And what we've seen is you can look at all of the things that collectively, I think because people are so civically unaware that everything that our grandparents and great grandparents fought for, everything that Fannie Lou fought for, the Montgomery bus boycott, what we understood is this, that as Black Americans, we would never be accepted in a way of like, you can't opt into whiteness. But what you can do is hold your government accountable and make them, we pay taxes. If you pay taxes, you should have the same rights as other taxpayers. And what has happened systemically is though you pay into taxes, you don't get the same benefit. That laws, rules, judgment, different things have been weaponized in order to keep Black Americans down. So in saying that, one, and I've said this over and over about this channel, we have to be about political activation, but also awareness. I do not believe that people understand what the Supreme Court is. So this is a boring video. It's not going to be full of razzle dazzle. Like at some point I may, pop up or, drop a link and we can have a conversation, but let's just talk about what is the Supreme Court. So it says the Supreme Court, you may have heard it and may hear grown-ups talk about it, and you may not be for sure what it is. The Supreme Court is our nation's top court. The Supreme Court is located in DC, Washington, DC. It's the head of the judicial branch or court system of the United States government. The job of the court system is to make sure the laws of our country are followed. So then we have to talk about laws, because you would love to believe that people understand what a law is, but I don't want to operate under assumption. So if you had to think about a law is like a rule. So your family has rules. Think about school, jobs, and the purpose of these rules are able to keep everyone healthy and keep everyone safe and to make sure that things are done fairly. So laws are in place so that everyone has to follow the same set of rules. Sometimes people choose not to follow the rules of law, and when that happens, disagreements can occur. If a person has a disagreement that they can't resolve between themselves, they go to court. Judges within the court help interpret the law and decide who is right and who's wrong. In some cases, there's a trial with the jury. So trial by jury is where you have other people, and that is where the United States citizens get together, they listen to the facts of a case and decide if a person is right or wrong. One of the basic rights that all Americans have is a right of trial to jury by their peers. So when they get together and have we've all seen it. I'm going to say this, Black people, please stop dodging. Don't dodge when you get a summons to go and be a juror. Please show up. Because what we understand is that when Black jurors show up and they're able to hear different cases, it tends to kind of level out. So one of the things that we're going to have to mature in is our relationship with the government, and how you may not trust it, but you have to be a part of it. And you also have to understand the role. I think we've been ducking and dodging a lot of different things. So jury duty, you get a summons, you need to go. So if you wonder where all the judgment begins, the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land. However, and this is what I'm going to say, your civic duty begins in towns, counties, cities, and states. Every city, town has a court where all local matters are heard. There are also state courts. A state court decides, and it helps decide if a state law was broken or if it's in compliance. You can go and visit, like those of us that, I don't, this is not going to sound right, but like if you had a really good school district, like you went to go visit like City Hall, or you might have gone to visit a state legislator. Even for us, like we went to visit the Alamo. And as a Texan, like remember the Alamo is something that these people preach, and they lost the Alamo. And that's what this is. Like the victors get to write the rules. Most Texans don't know that Santa Ana won. This Supreme Court ruling goes all the way back to the 1980s. The Supreme Court Justice Chief Roberts has been working against voters' rights since he was a baby lawyer. Like this is it's a vendetta for him. It is a vendetta for him. A lot of us always talk about Project 2025, not understanding the background of it and where Heritage America has been along for a very long time. I want us to go back to the Supreme Court, and it was established in 1789, and the purpose is to decide if laws follow the United States Constitution. The Constitution is an important document created for when our country was founded, and it still serves the basis of our government today. The Supreme Court not only decides if a law follows the Constitution, but it also has the power to undo the law of decisions made by local and state courts. So what will happen is, in the case that reversed this second part of the Voters' Right Act, is it was a case in Louisiana. Louisiana redistrict. When they did the redistricting, the way that they did it, they felt as if it was too race-based. So it passed through the state, well, passed through that local area, went to the state, and then the state kicked it up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, based on the way that you created these new district laws, it's too race leaning. Therefore, they really broke precedent, meaning everything else that had been done prior to. This is just absolutely weird and wrong. But again, this is a long play. Why is it important? Specifically now, because they gave this in April 30th, what they started doing is they're running the clock. Louisiana is in the middle of an election, and they are suspending the election, saying that the voting districts that they have may be legal because of the way they were drawn, the redistricting. We see a play right now in Florida. We also see, of course, Texas. There are quite a few different states. I think right now it's probably going to end up being about 13 to 15 that are going to try to redraw maps before midterms. So if you see Republicans look extra cocky, or you see people that should be trying to come out and meet with you and woo and earn your vote, it is because they are going to try to gerrymander and use this ruling against people. Here's the thing, foundational Black Americans, hear me when I say this. Whether we want to say we are 13%, we could be 22%. The numbers matter in the sense of this. If we are the 2 to 3% that people need to get them over the edge, then we have to utilize our vote. I want for us to understand that as a community, we can no longer, the vote blue no matter who is absolutely ridiculous. And beyond the vote blue no matter who, we also absolutely have to understand that right now, our vote, one, it's also oxymoronic, because this is when I'm going to get emotional. Our vote matters the most right now because of the weight, but we've never had less power as Black people since 1965. As a person that I've been learning about Fannie Lou Hamer for years, and there's documentaries here on YouTube. Please, if you don't know who she is, please look her up. I actually have a video where we reviewed the process that she went through to be able to vote. I do not think that people understand what our ancestors went through to be able to vote. And hear me when I say this. I know that a lot of people believe that voting has no power. You do not understand the way that voting works. When our people were freed, the one thing that they understood that kind of gave a leveling is, say the sheriff was a part of the KKK. If the sheriff is not only the sheriff and the Grand Dragon, you're going to have some problems in your town, right? If you have the capacity to ensure that the Grand Dragon is not also the sheriff, you as a Black person had a better opportunity for success. I want everybody, FBA, Sulan, ADOS, Black Americans, if you still using African Americans, come to the front of the room. I know that you want to believe that we are in a different place. We're not. I know that we want to believe that we had a Black president. We did. And the backlash and where we are now is because we had a Black president and because a lot of people got extremely complacent. We are at a point to where midterms are absolutely critical. But beyond midterms, we have to have a smarter political point of view. I have listened, Jasmine Crockett did a beautiful, and it was almost a 2-hour stream yesterday, and I'll include that, where she and other lawyers, there were, I want to say maybe 8 other Black women lawyers that kind of just broke down what happened, how it affected, and what the motivation was. So that's one thing I want us to look at. The other thing that happened is Chuck Schumer made a statement of what they're trying to do. Because I'm on a different device and I'm working with these things, I don't know how to share on my iPad. So I'm going to put the audio on of Chuck Schumer. I just listened to an interview with Don Lemon and, oh gosh, I don't want to say his name wrong. So let me pull it up, because the way my blood was boiling when you know how you want to be respectful of your elders, and you really don't want to. Jim Clyburn, that's who it is, Jim Clyburn. I want to be respectful, but when I tell you I was sick of the old nigga blues and some of the things that he said, I literally could have spat rocks, because we are in this position because Black people have been told repeatedly, hold on, don't worry about it, not your time. Well, just wait here, wait there. There is no reason why we are in this position. The Democrats have been in office and had positions of power where they could have, one, shored up the damn Voters' Rights Act. 2, they could have increased the court numbers. Our population has grown. We should not just have nine judges. I think technically right now, based on citizenship, braces, based on our population, how about that? Based on our population, I think we should have about 13 to 15 judges. And we know that right now, this 6-3 of 6 conservatives and 3 Democrats, like, the court is stacked. I don't think people understand that even when Trump leaves, Trumpism, MAGAism, Christian white nationalism, it's not going anywhere. And you live in America and you pay taxes in America. And the system that you pay taxes in should be held accountable, including the Supreme Court. So back to the Supreme Court, there are 9 justices. The head is the Chief Justice, which for us is Justice Roberts. The President of the United States appoints the Supreme Court justices, and they must be confirmed by the Senate. So Trump is the first president that actually got 3 picks, because Obama was denied one. Ruth Bader Ginsburg retired and then you have like an opening. So the other thing that we really need to start thinking about is these lifetime appointments. I think at one point maybe have been beneficial, but the way that it is right now, I find the Supreme Court to be absolutely corrupt. And it's sad because it was the epitome of a system that if you had been wronged, you could go through the court system all the way up to the Supreme Court and potentially find some sense of justice. Now, even with the Supreme Court, Black people do have a very complicated relationship because you have to go back to Plexi versus Ferguson, where you look at the case and just see like that in itself was problematic. So I have never been under the disillusion that the Supreme Court gets it right every time. I'm seeing that as an American citizen, it was a way of us finding justice within an unjust system. And right now, it's just very murky. So when the case gets kicked up to the Supreme Court, they listen to it. Um, the cases can be disagreements between the state. They've normally been heard by local and state, and they've made it all the way up to the Supreme Court for a final decision. The Supreme Court will hear the case and they ask for both sides to speak. Justices ask questions, but there's no jury. After the hearing, the justices are expected to decide the case based only on the Constitution, but their personal values and beliefs can also influence how they interpret it. And a lot of times, what you'll hear are from people like Alito, Roberts, Kahan, that they're constitutionalists, and they're not. They're not constitutionalists. So please don't get caught up into that. A majority of the justices must agree before the Supreme Court can make a decision. So like this case was 6-3. Once the justices write a statement, they will explain the decision. A justice who disagrees will write a dissenting opinion. So the dissenting opinion was, I believe, Kahan for this one. And then Alito wrote the supporting decision. Sometimes people do not agree with the decisions, and when that happens, it's important to listen respectfully to what the other side has to say, even if you do not agree. A Supreme Court can serve for life, and that is what we've seen. Um, I am going to say right now, part of the reason, and I would love to say I'm gonna tiptoe while I say this, I'm not gonna tiptoe. I'm gonna say this shit with my whole chest. We have too many old people in government right now. We have people that are absolutely too fucking old, making rules, making decisions from a really weird point of view that's not beneficial and not representative of what America looks like right now. We have white supremacists running our country. I will never, ever, 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 ever forgive a triple trumper. A triple trumper is a special breed of person. The first 2016, I get it to the point to where, you know what, you were trying something new. What did he tell Black people? What do you have to lose? He was against the system. He was draining the swamp. So you tried something different. I'm going to give you that. Anybody that voted for this man post the insurrection, I question who you are as an American. I question if you love this country, and I question your logic. And I don't care how you feel. I'm not here to hold and help people feel comfortable. We are not at that point. And what I'm saying to Black Americans is this: these people are not playing. They want their country back. They've been replaced in between Doge cutting all kind of jobs, in between DI ending, in between affirmative action being kicked back, in between executive orders. There is an attack on Black Americans. And if you don't fucking get it, I don't know what to say to you. And this is what I'm going to say to all non-white people, but non-FBA people. If you don't think what they're doing to us is going to affect you, you're a dummy. You're a dummy. You are a dummy. There is nothing that these people are plotting for us that will not affect you. It's coming down the pipeline. Now, Black Americans, I'm going to say this. I feel as if these people are playing in our face and they want to agitate our spirits and our souls. We don't have time to, we're not getting in the street. We're not, that's dead. The protests, they want for Black Americans to be so enraged that we come out into the streets, that we throw the first rock and let the revolution begin. No. And all you white people that are waiting on Black people to come out in the streets to try to fix it, absolutely not. We are at a point to where if this system is so diabolical, let it fucking burn. Let it burn. Because at this point, what are we fighting for? I love this country. I am an American. But strategically, we've got to regroup. And if we are the minority, then you are the people that should be up in arms and in the field saying this is not right. I don't have time to try to hold anybody else's hand. So Black Americans, we got to think a couple more pages with the Supreme Court. They can serve for life. We know right now we have 9 justices. We understand right now that Black people are under attack. And the way it is being done is very covert. Those of us that are aware, we get it. I do not believe now. It's going to be a couple people that's going to jump in the field and be like, you niggers, like that's going to happen. But for the most part, they're going to legislate us back to Jim Crow 2.0. I want to play a little bit of what the Supreme Court made a decision that will happen. I want to play a little bit of what Chuck Schumer has to say.
Mr. President, earlier this morning, the conservative majority on the Supreme Court took another step towards resurrecting the Jim Crow South in a decision that, for all practical purposes, upends half a century of precedent, defies the spirit of the American civil rights movement, and reverses generations of progress towards racial justice. The right-wing court today essentially declared it valid and appropriate for states to discriminate against racial minorities in drawing districts. The Voting Rights Act, a law written in the blood, sweat, tears, and sacrifice of Americans who marched, who fought, and died for the right to vote and to prevent racial discrimination, has been diminished once again. The consequence of this decision is as clear as it is dangerous. Fewer protections for voters, more power for politicians to draw maps that silence them, particularly historically disenfranchised voters. Now the conservative court has tried to make it seem like its decision today was narrow and tailored. But let's be very clear. In the words of Justice Kagan, this decision is a demolition of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. It opens the floodgates for states across the South to redraw their congressional districts and make voters of color essentially invisible in our democracy. By some estimates, this decision could leave.
And so, and we'll stop there. One, I'm glad Chuck Schumer said something like, yay, but where have you been? Again, I am going to hold a Democrat's hand with the napkin in between. Y'all are not going to act for the next 6 months during midterms. You're not going to get to act indignant because you did not fix the solution when you had an opportunity. Because when Biden was in office, you knew fucking well that this was a problem and you could have solved it. So I'm over it. This whole critical 911, I'm not playing the game with you Democrats, and I'm not letting other Black people play the game with you people, because we're here because of your apathy, because you have literally been playing in our face for probably the last 30 years. You really have. And I know for certain for the last 10 years, you've definitely been pussy popping and playing with us. I'm exhausted. I cannot try to worry about not only carrying on the legacy that my ancestrals fought for without knowing that your biggest push has been for immigrants and gays. And Black people have voted consistently for Democrats for far too long for us to be in this position. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. So now we finna get people out here like, oh no, 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 no. No. And I know it's a problem because in Dallas County, there are over 15,000 people whose votes didn't count because on voting day, they showed up to the wrong precinct because the Republicans had rigged the election. Before, you used to could show up at any county, any voting place within your county and vote. They changed it that if you voted the day of, you had to go to your precinct, and that disenfranchised people. And if they didn't get that, the Democrats, understanding that this was a high profile election, I got a question. What the fuck are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? On both sides, it's exhausting. You're not going to push us out of the system. We're not going to not participate. We are going to find a way to manipulate the vote just like everybody else has. You've had people attempt to engage with this system on the up and up. And what you've shown us is you do not respect fair and free elections. You do not respect, and I'm saying either party. And here's what I'm going to say to all of America. If it affects the bottom, it will eventually affect you. If it affects the lowest people, it will eventually affect you. If you do not think the tech bros, the oligarchs, the Republicans, and the Democrats really don't care about none of us as citizens, we got something else going on. Now, what we can say is this: as a Black American, as a Black woman, I have certain specific needs as a voter that I want to have addressed. But there are other universal things that as Americans, we can all agree that we are all getting screwed. Yes. So for my triple trumpers, is your gas lower? Are groceries cheaper? Are your kids able to buy that house? What's your investments looking like? Because the 1% is they're doing fine. It looks like everybody else is getting screwed. White supremacy is expensive. So white people will pay the cost economically. White supremacy is expensive. Black people will pay for it by the cost of our lives and the quality of our lives. We can no longer be walking around here politically ignorant, not involved, not understanding that these people are not fucking playing with us. You don't have to like politics. Politics will affect everything that you do in life. If you have a child that goes to a public school, you need to understand politics. If you pay taxes in America, which we do, you need to understand and participate in politics. And participation means not just voting for presidential elections, it means for city, well, let's just say local, city, state, and then federal. Somewhere along the lines, I don't want to say we've dropped the ball, we've become complacent, but something has happened to where we are not engaged enough politically. Now, hear me when I say this. The engagement, I'm not saying we need to be out marching, and it's a wrap on that. We need to understand our financial power. We need to understand our voting power. We need to demand something for our votes. And I would like for y'all to follow this journal with me. So we're going to do, like we went over the Supreme Court today. Next, I don't even want to say next week. We will cover the Little Book of Government and then how the government works. because part of what we'll do is let's just go ahead and transition. I'm sure some of y'all saw the foolishness that was the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And the first thing, like whether it was staged or not, my biggest concern was like, why are so many of the people within this, like the line of succession, all in the same place? If you don't understand the irregularity of that, so this is the let me see if I bring it in. Let me pull it back. I'm gonna find a way to share this, y'all. But if you look and see at the top corner here, that's the executive branch. If you start looking and following, this is like the line of succession of like, if he dies, who takes the office next? So you have the Department of State, that person was there. You have the Department of Homeland Security, DHS. Um, he just replaced Pam Bondi. He was there. The Department of Veteran Affairs was there. The Department of Treasury, that's Scott Bishop, he was there. The Department of Transportation, the Departments of Defense, which is Pete Hexberg, he was there. The Department of Justice, which would have been like Kash Patel, the Department of Commerce, that's Scott Bessick. There were far too many people that are in the line of succession that were at the same location with this awful security. I don't understand how it happened. I do not, you know what? No, I believe if you all of the things that you've heard about the tricks, the ploys in the ballroom, I absolutely believe the conspiracy. At this point, I do not trust a lot of what's going on within our government. I just absolutely don't. But what I am saying is beyond just the story sounding fugazi, you should never have that many people that are vital to our government running efficiently in the same place with lowered security. That was ridiculous. It was odd, it was weird, and it was strange. Um, so we have that. So we're definitely going to talk about like the government and how it works, so that when you see that many people within the line of succession, within the leadership, within our government, and nobody has either been properly vetted or the security is not appropriate, you can say like, this is not right. And we can start to ask questions. Somebody like they want to be on Kash Patel. I want to talk to Mike Johnson. Like, why did you allow this many people within this proximity to show up at the same place? There are so many different levels of inefficiency happening on one level, and then people that have been plotting out the long game, that it's a mess. So I named it the Supreme Court, and it says JC2. It is Jim Crow 2.0. If we do not get active, if you do not believe that we can be back in Jim Crow, I got some AI I want to sell you. We know how fast these people are moving. They're not playing with us. And the reason that I said, wake up, foundational Black Americans, because we are the only people that have successfully fought this government and been successful. I don't give a damn about these weekend retreats and these no kings protests. It's not a protest if you're doing it on a Saturday. A protest is to interrupt the system. The Montgomery bus boycott was over 400 days, and they interrupted the system financially and with utilization. If you are going to march on a Saturday for 3 to 4 hours at best traffic, you're not messing with the system. Tomorrow is May Day. Most people do not even know that there's supposed to be some type of economic impact where people are not supposed to buy anything, spend any money, or go to work for May the 1st. If these are the people that are supposed to be pushing the change, we cannot count on these people. So FBAs, Sulan, ADOS, Black Americans, Acorn, we have got to start getting our civic knowledge up. We have to understand the political landscape that we're playing in right now. And we have to understand the Constitution, how the government works, how the Supreme Court works, what it looks like functionally, so we can hold people accountable. Midterms will be interesting. I'd already felt like this was going to be interesting just because of the landscape. Now, at this point, it really will be a touch and go. It really will be every week we're going to have a meeting, but every week when we meet, we're going to activate our political activation. Um, I have flashcards that we're going to do, constitutional flashcards. We have got to get up our civic knowledge. And then we have to demand that we show up in a way that when we show up, our voices cannot be denied. We don't have an opportunity nor the option to not participate in midterms, to not understand what is at stake, and to not understand that this is dire. This is absolutely dire. This is serious. It's not a game. I have seen people literally up in smoke about Meg the Stallion. If you niggas got time to make memes of who she slept with, if we can have all of these thought-provoking conversations about, oh, Clay was this and oh, Meg was that. Like, if you niggas would tap into politics like you do to social media, we absolutely would be in a different place. We've got to get to a point to where you're trying to push, oh, let's all be content creators. We got to get some people that we help pay for law school. We've got to get some people that study history. We've got to get some people that's their expertise and we champion them and we get behind them like the stupid bullshit that we did with Meg and Clay. And mind you, hey, I'm a hot girl. I do hot things. I love Meg. I get it. She's problematic at times. She has things that people can push apart. Even Meg the Stallion, still, this is a point of contention with me and my good sis. She was twerking on the stage for Kamala. That shit didn't sit well in my spirit, but at least the bitch knew she needed to be active. I'm gonna need for us all of this time that these gender wars are going on. Wake up, Buttercup. Catch up, Mustard. Like, these people are not playing with us all of the time. All of these breaking down, all of the black women ain't this, black men ain't that. Come out of that bullshit, because you bitches gonna be back on it. And because I say you, because I ain't going back. I'm not going back. I got a passport. Okay. And you might want to go get your passport, because one, you might need it to be able to vote, but two, if you gotta get out of here, you definitely don't want to have to wait to need it. We've got to wake up. Wake up, Black America. What did he say on school days? Wake up. Wake up. These people are playing the long game. I need for you to wake up. I need for you to know who your state senator is. I need for you to know who your representatives are in Congress. And I need for you to know what are the initiatives that are coming up for midterms that you need to vote on. You pay taxes. You are an American citizen. Part of your civic duty is to participate within the system that governs you. Wake the fuck up.